Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Namo MyoHoRenGeKyo. All right, let's see if we can finish. I don't know. We might be able to finish this Go Show, this letter to Akimoto. Turns out it's got a lot of meat in it, so it's taking a while to get through it, but it's all good, right? We're learning so much. So let's continue here with a letter to Akimoto. And now, when Japan faces the threat of an attack from the great empire of the Mongols, we are told that the authorities are employing these same inauspicious doctrines in an attempt to overpower the Mongols through incantations. The daily records also make it clear that this is so. Can anyone who understands the true situation fail to see or to sigh in sorrow? So he's talking about these Mahavajracana, True Word, other sects, Nembutsu and Zen, all using all manner of incantations, meditations, little mantras, mudras, all sorts of old, inappropriate, expedient means that don't apply to the latter day. They simply won't have any influence or function. It's ridiculous. And Nichiren has constantly been talking about this, the duration of his teachings for many years, decades, for 27 years, I think, at this point. And he's like, your incorrect practice is the reason we're being invaded by the Mongols, and you think by continuing your incorrect practice, you're going to repel them? you know? So he's kind of pleading with Akimoto to see the situation clearly. Akimoto is being, pressured from all around him. Being a leader, being a samurai, he is being told by many groups that he's silly for following Nichiren. He's worse than silly. He's an enemy of the state. That he should just do as he's told. Chant Amida Butsu's name, do these mudras and mantras. He's a samurai. That's got to be confusing to him because he's used to swinging a sword to answer his problems, right? But the greatest samurai is the samurai who doesn't ever draw his sword. So they're not stupid. They're not blunt instruments, the samurai, I mean. They have a code of conduct, and they base that very much on observable dignity, behavior. So the teachers of Buddhism have a lot of sway, a lot of influence. But somebody who makes sense, like Nichiren, and teaches Buddhism in a very forthright, very observable, manifest way, it's very appealing to the critical mind of a samurai. So he gets his converts, Nichiren does, and his converts have to deal with a lot of negativity from the retinue, the other members of society and so forth who don't trust him now because he's not doing the same old, right? How tragic, he continues, that we should be born in a country where people slander the correct teaching and should encounter such great hardships. I could say that of today. Though we may escape being slanderers ourselves, how can we escape censure for belonging to a family of slanderers or a country of slanderers? See, that's the rub, isn't it? That even if you and I are practicing Buddhism correctly, following Nichiren's advice, following the Lotus Sutra to the letter, chanting every day, reciting Gongyo, we are complicit in the failures of those around us who don't understand Buddhism, who don't even know what Buddhism is. But most certainly those who practice Buddhism incorrectly. In a way, you could say they're our problem. I know that's tough to hear. But it's a reminder that this is the kind of ichinen, the kind of volition, the kind of determination we have to call up from within ourselves, our body-mind, when we chant Namo MyoHoRenGeKyo, it is not simply our own karmic troubles that we're expiating, clearing up. We are definitely doing that. But our karma is not isolated. See, that's part of our samsaric problem. We think of ourselves as small little integral units. So when we chant, we're just chanting for me. But the truth is, you're not a single unit. You're part of a vast force of life that includes you and everything you experience, you and your environment, you see. So through your entity, ego, self, you can burst the Buddha life condition like an aura, like an energy wave throughout your environment with that kind of expansive determination, MyoHoRenGeKyo. You do influence your environment. And so you may need to remind yourself of the disasters in Yemen and in Africa and in the Middle East and in the famines going on in different countries. Think about those things, because you are affecting them. That makes your sense of self much, much larger, right? Larger to the point of bursting. That's the power of Buddhism. That's the power of compassion. That's the power of this practice. It is massive. And having a glimpse of what that looks like, feels like, that's your bodhisattva practice. That is how you expand and feel what Nichiren and what Shakyamuni calls perfect and immediate enlightenment. It's perfect because it includes all of life, not just me, me, me. Because me, me, me is a provisional, temporary thing. It's not even real. It's a perception you have, and it's getting in the way of your true perception of this manifestation of consciousness that you have of life. Life is immense. What an amazing thing, right? If you escape censure for being a member of a family that includes slanderers, then speak to your parents or your brothers about this matter. Perhaps they will hate you for it, but perhaps they will put resolute mind and conviction in your words. In your words, meaning your assistance to the Buddha's words, right? If you would escape censure for living in a country where slanderers exist, then you should remonstrate with the sovereign, though you may be condemned to death or exile. Quote, "We care nothing for our bodies or lives, but are anxious only for the unsurpassed way." What is the unsurpassed way? Single-mindedly working to fuse with Buddha. That is the unsurpassed way. MyoHoRenGeKyo. This is what the Lotus Sutra says, right? And the commentary states, quote, "One's body is insignificant while the law is supreme. One should give one's life in order to propagate the law." So that doesn't mean immolate yourself. That doesn't mean kill yourself. That doesn't mean set yourself on fire. That is not what that means. What that means is when you give your life, is this trigger that I'm telling you about, self, ego, me, 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 me. Let that go. Let the me, 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 me be an instantiation of life rather than a me experiencing for itself this life. Your life isn't limited to Bob, Betty, Sally, Juan, Guaido, whatever. You're just a little and an amazing, I don't mean to belittle, I mean that you are an amazing consciousness, able to perceive something so much huger than this instantiation, this little moment of self. Again, the self is, if you take it apart, if you follow its reasoning to life itself, it's immense. So yeah, take your practice personally, but understand that your personal experience of the practice is far beyond this temporary existence. You want your life to have meaning. The only meaning your life has is the affect you give life in general. Why do we remember names in history? It's not because that person, that woman, that man was floated off the floor and was so amazing and did tricks. It's because of what they left behind. Madame Curie is a name you remember from school and books because she invented antibiotics. She saved millions of lives, right? Why do we remember Einstein? Because he played violin? Because he had the world's first rock and roll haircut? You wouldn't know his name from Shinola if it weren't for all of the contributions he made to humanity. See, that's self. That's huge. That's not poor little Einstein. Hey, Albert, what do you want for lunch? Do you give a crap? No, you don't remember individuals like that. We may think we do because that's our attachment problem. Really, when we think of these great names, we think of them as labels for accomplishments they made that still affects us today, right? So it's no different in Buddhism. If you want to call yourself a Buddhist, then you need to understand that your practice is far bigger than you. Chant about that. That's immense. And when you feel that, your practice surely changes. Then you have an inkling. Then you have some, wow, I can do that. Makes me tingle thinking about it. So that's what that means. Don't immolate yourself. Don't end your life in, who's going to remember that? Right? Oh boy, he was a Buddhist. He killed himself for it. What a dumbass, right? But yeah, I'm a Buddhist because I heard about this woman. She was amazing. She taught Buddhism to all these people, and she helped rescue so many people. She was such a wondrous, giving person. She was amazing. She made me curious about Buddhism, so I started learning it for myself. And Buddhism is amazing, but it's all because of her. Well, it's not her. It's not Jane. It's what she did influenced me. The causes she made influenced me. Right? Would that kind of way be samsaric? That's what this means. The reason you have not succeeded in attaining Buddhahood from countless distant kalpas in the past down to the present is that when a situation such as this has arisen, you have been too fearful to speak out. And in the future as well, this principle will prevail. Wow, that's pretty hardcore, Nichiren. We just learned something about Akimoto, right? Akimoto is practicing the Lotus Sutra and saying he's a student of Nichiren's, but when anyone else is around, he's chanting Amida Butsu. He doesn't want to make waves. So he's calling us out. Are you really practitioners of Buddhism, of Lotus Sutra, of MyoHoRenGeKyo, or are you just playing? When somebody comes around and says, oh, you're Buddhist, do you rear up and go, hey, what I practice is very important, not only to me, but mankind. And if you can't deal, then don't be putting it down. You want to learn about it, I'll teach you. Don't tolerate being put down for the most incredible thing anyone can do, right? That may be how you end up. That's shakabuku right there. Don't be broken. Don't let people challenge you in that way. But at the same time, don't belittle what they do. Offer to teach them. You might just find that it's pretty incredible. Anytime you want to know, let me know. But don't be putting me down. You don't even know what you're putting down. That's appropriate, right? I grew up in a place where they thought Buddhists would just cower to everything and just go, oh, yes, sir, I'm a poor little Buddhist. I'm a pacifist. I don't do that. Baloney. Take great pride in your practice. That's the attitude. This is essential stuff. Don't let people put you down. Even if you don't want to teach them, you may feel that. This guy isn't worthy of my time. But he's not worthy of putting you down either. That's what Nichiren's saying here. Where are we time-wise? I know I'm long-winded, but this is some beefy stuff in this letter. He continues, now I, Nichiren, understand these things because of what I myself have undergone, right? He's not talking out of school here. But even if there are those among my disciples, my students, who understand them, they fear the accusations of the times, believing that their lives, which are as frail as dew, are in fact to be relied upon. They backslide, keep their beliefs hidden in their hearts, or behave in other such ways. Well, that's what we're talking about right now, isn't it? A passage in the Lotus Sutra says that the sutra is, quote, the most difficult to have confidence in and the most difficult to understand. And I have learned the value of this passage through my own experience. Slanderers are as numerous as the dust particles of the land, because they don't even know they're slanderers, right? Believers are as few as the specks of dirt that can be placed on a fingernail. Slanderers are a huge sea, and upholders one drop of water. On Mount Tendai there is a specific place called the Dragon Gate, which is a waterfall 1,000 feet in height. At the beginning of spring, the fish gather there and attempt to ascend the waterfall. If there is one fish in 100 or 1,000 that succeeds in ascending the waterfall, it will become a dragon. Basically, it's impossible for the fish to go up a 1,000-foot fall, right? The current of this waterfall is swifter than an arrow or a flash of lightning. Not only is it difficult to ascend, but at the beginning of the spring, fishermen gather by the waterfall and spread hundreds and thousands of nets to catch the fish, or shoot arrows at the fish, or scoop them up. Eagles, hawks, kites, owls, tigers, wolves, dogs, and foxes gather there as well, day and night, snatching up the fish and devouring them. Thus 10 or 20 years may go on by without a single fish changing into a dragon. It is like a person of common and humble station dreaming of being admitted to the palace of the emperor, or a woman of humble birth hoping to become a consort. Not that that's a goal these days, but you understand. And you should understand that taking resolute mind in the Lotus Sutra is even more difficult than this. So how fortunate is it that you can practice this Lotus Sutra today? without all of these impediments. But they still exist, right? Remember, they're in our environment. So they are ours to defeat. Because they hold sway in our mind. The Buddha has constantly warned us, saying that no matter how great an observer of the precepts one may be, no matter how lofty in wisdom and well versed in the Lotus Sutra and other scriptures, if one sees an enemy of the Lotus Sutra, but fails to rebuke and denounce him or report him to the ruler of the nation, instead keeping silent out of fear of others, then one will invariably fall into the great citadel of the hell of incessant suffering. You just go back to your pathetic life. And maybe you don't think your life is pathetic, but if you're ruled by avarice, if you're ruled by gotta have, owning things, being obsessed about things, relationships, computers, Apple Watches, whatever it is, if that controls your mind, your life condition, you are extremely feeble and frail in your life condition, because at any moment you can fall into despair. Where's my watch? Do you ever do that? Maybe you have something else. That very thing is what should scare the crap out of you, because you're not living life then. What you're living is consumer. You're just consuming the illusions of ownership. Your health is being affected by it. And your life is very, very small. Buddhism is about expanding your life. Have all the baubles. I'm not saying you can't have them. You don't have to live in a cave to be a Buddhist. Have all of those wonderful things. But understand their place. They're not important. They're fun. They're entertaining. What's important is your life condition, your Buddha-ness, your Bodhisattva way. That's expansive. That's unshakable. No one can take that from you. But the irony is, you're the only one who can take it for yourself. And you're the one who loses it. It's all on you. How amazing is this? Suppose, by the way of analogy, that one commits no treasonable act oneself, but knows of someone who is plotting treason. A brother, a sister, a friend, a parent, an associate. You know that they're doing wrong. That knowledge makes you complicit. Boom, right off the bat. You must act. As a Buddhist, you must act. It doesn't have to be about Buddhism. If you don't act, then you take on a little bit of that responsibility of that, and you start to shift. Your life condition starts to drift. Yeah, it's strict. If one fails to inform the ruler, then one is guilty of the same crime as the person who is plotting treason. I don't care if it's stealing paper clips out of the company closet. Same diff. The great teacher Nanhui has stated, quote, if one sees a foe of the Lotus Sutra, especially of this practice, and yet fails to censure him, one becomes a slanderer of the law, no matter how hard you practice, and will fall into the hell of incessant suffering, meaning you won't accomplish your bodhisattva way, your Buddhahood. You won't awaken the Buddha. You'll be right back in your mundane life, suffering, avarice, manipulations, foolishness. Even a man of great wisdom, if he sees such a person and fails to speak out, will fall into the depths of hell, and as long as that hell shall endure, he will never escape. So as I said earlier, it sounded very simple. Somebody laughs you off. Oh, he's a Buddhist. She's a Buddhist. What does she know? Go eat your vegetables. If you don't know anything else to do, laugh at them. You're so foolish. You have no idea. Well, then tell me. Well, if you can calm down and not be so confrontational, I would love to spend a little time with you and show you. Maybe we can schedule a time together, you and I, without this audience that you're trying to impress with your ego. And I would love to show you something about Buddhism. With that kind of confidence, that kind of strength, Nichiren would say, the Buddhist gods would protect you. Never back down when it comes to your practice. Don't let anyone put it down. Instead, use it as an opportunity to teach. Have you never heard Namo MyoHoRenGeKyo? What? Say it with me. They'll think about it. And if you can get them to say it, even if they deride you because of their ego, you've done bodhisattva work. You've planted the seed. Anytime you want to investigate how that works, you let me know. When you're serious. When you get serious about your life, come see me. That kind of confidence, that's powerful. I, Nichiren, fearing these admonitions of the Buddha. Think about that. That's very important what he just said. Imagine when you're in a situation like that, this bully, this uneducated fool is making fun of Buddha, not you. And then you're going to have to answer to Buddha later, asking you what the heck is going on in your practice. That could motivate you. It certainly did Nichiren, he's saying right here. But I'm saying to you, have some dignity. What you do is intense, immense, immeasurable, unfathomable, all those Buddhist words. It's so huge. Don't let anyone put it down. Find a way that's not confrontational, that nurtures their question, and indicate your willingness to show them something they don't know. Deflate that whole confrontation, but do it with conviction, confidence that what you're doing is amazing. Even if you don't understand what you're doing fully, if you don't feel like you can describe and explain all of these things, have them sit in front of a video. Just chant with them. Just bring them to a gohonzon, a mandala of gohonzon. Let's spend the next 10 minutes doing this till you can do it fluently. And then tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. You will learn a lot about them, and they will learn a lot about you and them, and, most importantly, MyoHoRenGeKyo. They may not be ready for it at that moment, but you've done your job. They will. Now, if they use that as another way to attack you, you need to be able to stave them off. But you do it with compassion, kindness, and continually identify yourself as a potential teacher, a helper, an assistant, a bodhisattva. They don't have to know the word bodhisattva. They just need to know that you're still willing to help them. I don't need any help. When you're ready, whenever you're ready, I'd like to help. Have a great day. Accordingly accused all those throughout the nation who were deserving of it, and more than once I was condemned to exile or death. Right? Because they faced off with him. Stop teaching this crap. No, I won't. Well, we'll kill you. No, I don't care. They weren't able to kill him. They exiled him. Now will you shut up? No, I won't. I mean, if you need someone to live up to, look at Nichiren as your example. Believing that my past offenses had now been eradicated and that I was blameless of any fault, I left Kamakura to take up residence on this mountain, Minobu, and since then 7 years have passed. Let me describe this mountain. In Japan there are 7 marshes, and it is in the march called the Tokaido, which is made up of 15 provinces. Within these is the province of Kai, where there are 3 village districts called Lino, Mimaki, and Hakiri. And it is in the one called Hakiri. It is a remote mountain region that stretches over an area of more than 20 ri in the northwest part of the district. The northern part is a Mount Minobu, the southern Mount Takatori, the western Mount Shichimin, and the eastern Mount Tenshi. They are like boards set up on all 4 sides. Around the outside of this area are 4 rivers. The Fuji River runs north to south. The Haya River runs west to east behind this area. In front of Hakiri River, which runs west to east, and its tributary, which has a waterfall and is called the Minobu River, you might suppose that Eagle Peak had been moved from central India and set down here, or that Mount Tendai had been brought from China. So what he's indicating is that although he's in a very isolated region, the region is beautiful. I can only imagine mountains on all sides, forested, valleys, streams, rivers, waterfalls. And he equates this resting place that he's picked for his retirement as beatific, if you will, as the story in the Lotus Sutra of the ceremony in the sky. Eagle Peak is this fictional place, or Vulture Peak, depending on what you read, is a great bird is used as an analogy for this lifting of spirit in this place of a sermon, the ultimate sermon of Shakyamuni Buddha, the Lotus Sutra. Or of Tendai Mountain, which is also a magnificent mountain, and in 500-600, well, the mountain existed. Tendai Mountain in China actually was used as the name for the great teacher Chi-Che, the Tendai sect, where that started, where the monastery was located. In the midst of these 4 mountains and 4 rivers is a flat area no broader than the palm of one's hand, and here I have built a little hut to shield me from the rain. I have peeled bark off the trees to make my 4 walls. I have, and wear a robe made of hides of deer that died a natural death. In spring, I break off ferns to nourish my body, and in autumn I gather fruit to keep myself alive. But since the 11th month of the last year, the snow has been piling up, and now into the first month of the new year, it goes on snowing. My hut is 7 feet in height, but the snow outside is piled up to a depth of 10 feet. I'm surrounded by 4 walls of ice, and icicles hang down from the eaves like a necklace of jewels adorning my place of practice. While inside my hut, snow is heaped up in place of rice. Even in ordinary times, people seldom come here, and now, with the snow so deep and the roads blocked, I have no visitors at all. So at the moment, I am atoning for the karma that destines me to fall into the 8 cold hells, and far from attaining Buddhahood in this present life. I am like the cold, suffering bird. I no longer shave my head, so I look like a quail, and my robes get so stiff with ice that it resembles the icy wings of a mandarin duck. So, his earthly life condition, his samsaric life condition, sucks. He's going through a lot of suffering. To such a place, where friends from former times never come to visit, where I have been abandoned even by my own students. You have sent these vessels, which I heap with snow, imagining it to be rice, and from which I drink water, thinking it to be gruel. Please let your thoughts dwell on the effects of your kindness. There is much more I would like to say with my deep respect, Nichiren. So he comes full circle to where he began, with these vessels. And he's indicating to him that even though he's the foremost teacher in all of Japan, leading people to practice correctly the Lotus Sutra, the final culminating teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, his life is no picnic. Now, he put himself there. It's a form of self-exile, if you will, but he's protected there, right? He's safe there from all of these government entities that would like to end his life and shut him up finally. He's basically chosen a safe place from which he can send missives and teachings and go letters like this. And then he reminds Akimoto, if you think you have it tough, first of all, your effort to get me food in these 30 vessels and support is so precious. He juxtaposed it against the way he's having to live life buried in snow. He's letting Akimoto know the nature of his gift is profound, because it supports the preeminent teacher, votary of the Lotus Sutra. It's not just a nice thing to do. It's an amazing, huge thing to do. Remember, self bigger than self. And in the meantime, while you recognize and I laud you for this gift, understand what this means, the responsibility you're taking on of transcending this idea of me, Akimoto, swordman. No, you are a profound votary, a bodhisattva of Buddha. You are a savior of the world. This is a huge thing to do. This is why it's difficult to grasp the immensity of this Buddhist practice. And it just starts with the determination to affect your surroundings. Even if you look at it selfishly, your surroundings are you, right? The person you look at in the mirror is just a minor reminder of your samsaric manifestation, and that may be fascinating in its own right. But it is in the way others see you that you exist. This is why it's so critical that if others belittle you, that you don't allow them to. Now, if they belittle you for your makeup or the clothes you wear, well, just laugh that off. That's totally meaningless. But if they belittle you for your Buddhist practice, that is what you must stand up to. Do you understand the difference? All right. Well, we got through that Go show. I think I'm going to reread this one yet again several times. There was a lot of meat in that one. And there's probably a lot of questions popping up in your mind. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what's going on. We'll do a Q&A, and I'll answer those things as quickly as I can, or directly with you in an email. By the way, if there's something private you don't want me to share, you got to tell me that. Because to me, everything's part of growth of this Sangha and our practice. And a lot of your questions are just so common. I don't mean to say that they're not valuable. I mean, a lot of us have questions we never ask. And the one of you who has the courage to ask the questions may be helping thousands of people understand their practice. That's also, you're making comments is bodhisattva practice, is what I'm getting around to saying. And in that way, I'm so proud of your practice and appreciative of your participation in these videos. Share these videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that YouTube stuff. And in the meantime, take care of your health and be kind. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for being here. Did you know there's a third way you can help support this channel? And it won't cost you a cent. Yep, if you are not able to be a patron on Patreon or use the PayPal me at .com at Sifu Sylvain because you don't have the financial fortune to help support this channel right now, you, as I say, always support this channel by watching, but you can also help us grow so that maybe one day we can get over 10,000 subscribers and YouTube will grace us with monetization. It's not a lot, but if you can make sure you're subscribed and share a video like a simple one, just go into the search criteria and type monk and you'll have a video that'll come up that's been up for years about what is a monk. You know, it's called monk, who, how, where, something like that. That might be a great introduction to somebody who doesn't understand what a monk is to begin with. It's a tool. Use this channel as a tool to help you with your bodhisattva practice, and share a video to somebody who you think, oh, I know somebody who'll benefit from watching this. And in that way, you can help us grow. And that's a really good way to help your practice along as well. So just wanted to drop that in on you in case that's something that you might find useful. Take care of yourself again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.